Well, howdy folks, and welcome to the Bible Quiz Show. That's right, we're about to dive deep into the good book and see who's been paying attention. Now, I know what you're thinking, Steve. This sounds about as exciting as a Sunday morning sermon. But hold your horses, because we're gonna have some fun with this. We've got 10 brain-tickling questions lined up, all about those stories we grew up with. Think you know your Noah from your Jonah, your Genesis from your Revelation? Well, get ready to prove it. Keep that noggin jogging, because we're about to put your Bible knowledge to the test. Alright y'all, let's kick things off with a real easy one, a true softball right here. We're talking about the very first book of the Bible, you know, the one that tells us all about how the world began, creation, Adam and Eve, that whole shebang. I'm talking about that book that your grandma probably quotes like it's the morning news. Come on now, don't overthink it. What's that first book called? That's right, it's Genesis. Next up, we're talking about a guy who knew a thing or two about water, and animals, and a whole lot of rain. This fella got a message from above, told him to build a giant boat, bigger than a football field. He gathered up his family and two of every kind of creature, from giraffes to gophers. Then the skies opened up and it rained for 40 days and 40 nights. Who am I talking about? That's right, it's Noah, the ark-building, animal-herding, flood-surviving legend himself. Now for a quick one, we're talking about the shortest verse in the whole Bible, just a handful of words. It's a powerful statement though, packed with emotion. This verse comes from the Gospel of John, chapter 11, verse 35. It's a simple phrase expressing deep sorrow. What is the shortest verse in the Bible? It's Jesus wept. This next story is about a guy who tried to run away from his problems. He literally hopped on a boat and sailed in the opposite direction. But God had other plans, a big, fishy plan. This guy ended up taking an unexpected detour, spending 3 days and nights in the belly of a giant fish. Talk about a bad case of indigestion. Who am I talking about? That's right, it's Jonah. He learned the hard way that you can't run from your calling. Alright folks, time for a numbers game. We're talking about the New Testament, the second half of the Bible. It's got all those stories about Jesus and his disciples, Gospels, letters, a little bit of everything. But how many books are in the New Testament? How many do you have to get through to reach the very end? Think carefully, this one's a brain teaser. The answer is 27, that's right, 27 books make up the New Testament. Now, we're going way back to the time of judges and prophets. The Israelites were looking for a leader, someone to unite them and lead them to victory, and they found him in a tall, handsome young man. This guy was chosen by God himself, anointed with oil by the prophet Samuel. He became the very first king of Israel. Who am I talking about? That's right, it's King Saul. Alright folks, we're down to the wire now. Time for the last book of the Bible, the one that tells us how it all ends. It's a wild ride, full of visions and prophecies, angels and demons, a final battle between good and evil. We're talking about the book that gives us a glimpse of heaven and a warning about the end times. What's that last book called? That's right, it's Revelation, the book of mysteries and ultimate hope. Chapter 8. This next story is about a leader who stood up to a powerful pharaoh. He demanded freedom for his people even when it meant facing down plagues and chariots. This man, chosen by God, led his people out of slavery in Egypt and towards the Promised Land. He parted the Red Sea, received the Ten Commandments, and became a symbol of hope and liberation. Who am I talking about? That's right, it's Moses. Chapter 9. We're talking about the book of poetry, prayers, and praises. It's the longest book in the entire Bible, filled with songs of joy, laments of sorrow, and everything in between. From King David's heartfelt cries to the wisdom of the ages, this book has it all. It's a source of comfort, inspiration, and guidance for people of all walks of life. What's this epic book called? That's right, it's Psalms. Chapter 10. Our last question is about a man of unwavering faith. He refused to bow down to idols, even when it meant facing a den of hungry lions. This brave soul was thrown into the lion's den, sentenced to death for his beliefs. But God protected him, shutting the mouths of the lions. Who am I talking about? That's right, it's Daniel. He showed us that even in the face of danger, faith can overcome any obstacle. Well folks, there you have it. 10 Bible trivia questions that put your knowledge to the test. How'd you do? Did you ace it like a Sunday school superstar? Or did you miss a few along the way? No judgment here folks, we're all on this journey of faith together. Be sure to brag about your score or keep it a secret in the comments below. And hey, if you learned something new today, give this video a big ol' thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on more fun and faith-filled content. Until next time, stay blessed.